honestly. Oh, it takes some guts to come on and do a show after this club. I tell you, it really does take a hell of a front to come and chat about Arsenal Football Club when they're this bad. When they're this bad. It's so, so bad. How can you articulate this? How can you articulate what we're watching? It's so downhearting. It's just so painful to go and watch opportunities spurned time after time. And it's just like you could have played another 30 odd minutes and still not scored. I'm so angry and just sad at everything that this football club is blowing this season. It's just so horrid. So horrid. Good afternoon. I hope you're doing well. I know you're not. But yeah, let's go through your comments, because I don't know how long this show's going to be, because it's just demoralising. It's really, really demoralising. Anthony says, hopefully a better half for a happy one. Yeah, and that was posted at 4 o'clock, so unsurprising. It's gone in like that. We're a banter club. We're threatening like puppies, says Rancid. This team is devoid of confidence and ideas. Resuscitators. Yeah, Zach, I said it. Did I not yesterday? Was it yesterday I said this team are resuscitators, is what they are. We bring other sides back to life. Battered 6-0 by Chelsea. What do? Lose 1-0. Mostly it says Spurs are spursing it up, or Arsenal are arsing it up. Yeah, very, very well put. Perez, I'm angry at the result. I'm angrier for the lack of incomings in January. How can we not focus on that? How can that not be what we discuss? How can the January window not be looked at as a huge detrimental failure which has cost us so heavily? Why is Eddie Nketiah playing the whole game? Why is he playing the whole game? He's not doing anything. He's not ever going to do anything. He's awful. He's so bad. He doesn't offer us anything. He doesn't offer us anything at all. The finishing is poor. The movement's poor. He was invisible for most of the second half. He had the one little back-heeled flick, where, you know, when you're desperate in need of a goal and you're trying little flicks like that. Get on the ball. Open yourself up. Take him off, Arteta. He's not here. He doesn't care. That wasn't a performance of a player that cared. That wasn't a performance of a player that was busting a gut. It really was. Oh, have you lost me? Hold on. Hold on. That's why it's gone. For some reason the microphone's not plugged in. That's why you can't hear me. Here we go. Hold on. There we go. You should be able to hear me now. Oh, it's 3 minutes on the wrong microphone. That pretty much sums up how I'm feeling about Arsenal, doesn't it? Oh, mate. Deary me. Zamir says, Tom, your mic is like Nketiah, not on. Vishal says, how do we rationalise this, Tom? Where do we go? I'll tell you where we go from here. We go to Chelsea. We go to Chelsea next. That's just horrible to think about. And then Man United 3 days later, who just beaten Norwich. I mean, they're fortunate to beat Norwich. United side. United are going to get top 4. And it's going to be the worst team to ever get top 4 in the history of top 4s. It's going to be the worst team. Smashing incoming, says Anthony. Replay the run, says fella. Chips and pieces, crazy days. Why Eddie? Let's go back to Eddie, because I don't know if you could even hear what I was saying a second ago. But I really don't get it. Why you stick with him. I'd rather bring El Neni on the pitch and have him try and shoot from range, because no one else can shoot from range right now. No one else can shoot from distance at all. Like, why not put El Neni on for a couple of minutes just to bang him in the last 5? You've got Amari Hutchinson on the bench as well, who's a really young, exciting talent, scored a fair few goals for the under-23s. I'd rather him coming on. You know, I'd rather put Martinelli into the middle. And I don't get, what I don't understand is how we can have no width on the left-hand side at all. When they took Tavares off, there was no width at all. Martinelli would drift and he'd get into the ball in kind of the corner area. It's just toothless and unimaginative and boring and predictable. It was just, I mean, Southampton actually tried to give us the win. You would have seen any other team bring on a centre-back, bring on another, defender, which they brought on Livramento right at the end. But they actually tried to open us up. They tried to bring on Long and Redmond. They actually tried to make it easier. Hasenhüttl almost felt pitiful for Arsenal, trying to make some changes that would help us. Absolute nothingness. Ifes is taking off Tavares as a poor choice. I wouldn't have taken him off. He was offering us width on that left-hand side. How he was taken off instead of Nketiah, I don't understand. I don't understand. Charles says, thought we looked worse as Arteta brought on the subs. It was a Forest masterclass, as it did, yeah. Tarun, thanks for the donation, says another 4 losses incoming versus Spurs, Chelsea, Newcastle, West Ham. You can't see us winning. You cannot see Arsenal winning a game. You just can't see Arsenal winning a game. I don't know where a win's going to come from. Where we're going to get any points. Look, there's a genuine chance that Arsenal miss out on top 6 at this rate. You can't lose every game. You lose every game. There's no point talking about Europa League. There's no point even talking about Conference League. Arsenal are going to miss out. Arsenal will miss out if they do not buck their ideas up and get some results. Because this is absolutely dire and dreadful. Sylvester says, fault Arteta and Edu. They failed to get the players in January. At least aerial threat was not there, so we were easy to defend against. That's the thing. Is we had no one to just ping the ball into the box to. Other teams just can bring on, some tall strikers, ping the balls into the box and hopefully get on the end of something. We got nothing. We got no threat at all. We might as well have stuck Gabriel up top for the last 10 minutes. That genuinely could have been an option. Why not just throw Gabriel? Bring on Rob Holding. Put him in where Gabriel's been and just chuck Gabriel into the box. Because that was better than what we were offering, because we weren't going to score. We could have kept on going. But to be fair, we created some chances. Bukayo Saka should absolutely nail his chance in the first half to give us a 1-0 lead. Absolutely easy peasy, done and game over. Because if you score early against Southampton, they open up like they did against Chelsea. And if Saka scores that chance, it's so different. You have to take those chances. Let's start Hutchinson next game. We can all talk about what we would want to see, Dan, but we're not going to see it. We're not going to see it because we've got no plan B. We've got nothing. It's an insipid performances of this team. I'm so much more invested in the sense that every Arsenal loss affects. I know that in the same way it affects everyone's week because they're a fan. But when your job is Arsenal, and you come on and talk about Arsenal in the morning and you write about Arsenal all day, honestly, the feeling of having to go for a week where you've got to write and talk about Arsenal is so demoralising when it's this bad. It's really hard. It really makes these defeats so painful. Knowing you've got Chelsea United coming up as well, it's awful knowing that you've got this week. It's really, really, really bad. Jared says, so angry, and this is why I said last year that Arteta is tactically naive. We are in a good position going into January, and you will offload players who could have done a job right now. O'Malley says, concerning thing is defensive work we are putting in, losing tons of second balls, not closing down the crosses. Grasspatch says, should Arteta be sacked if we finish outside the top 6? Yes, I've maintained that consistently. If we don't finish in the top 6, we should change coach. Just Girl says, nothing personal, but I'm going to unsubscribe from all Arsenal-related things. Supporting Arsenal with these owners is like convincing your daughter to stay in an abusive relationship. I don't blame you. You got to do what's best for you and what's best for your mental health, because it's hard enough doing the shows, let alone you guys having to listen and invest your time into them when it's this bad. James says, I'm struggling to think of reasons to keep Arteta. Akmal says, Mo, and most of us are proven right with the January transfer window. We all sat there on the Arsenal lounge and said how silly and naive it was to just gamble our season in January. We could have signed someone. Like, there were players that moved. We could have done something, just even to bring in someone with aerial threat. Christoph Piatek, he's a lofty guy. Throw balls into the box. Surely you get something. Wout Weghorst, throw some balls into the box. You get something. You've gambled our season, and it could gamble way, way more than just this season. It could gamble the next one as well. David says, Tom, I realised it was my shout. David, yeah, I can't see your comment if there was one before that, so apologies for that. But my head's really not with it right now. Charles says, Erdegaard's the only player trying in the last 10 to 15 minutes. He was coming into the defence to try and drive the ball up the fields. The thing about Erdegaard is that, again, his I feel like his energy just, again, wasn't translated. He's the captain. He needs to try and translate that energy. I know that he was putting in double shift. He really was grabbing the ball, driving forward as much as he can. But, we overloaded the attacking area of the field. We overloaded that area of the field and just weren't able to get anything at all from the spaces. Because if you take off all of your defenders, which we did, and you're putting in forwards and wide forwards, I don't really understand why you wouldn't keep the width, keep the fullbacks, get them to swing crosses into the box. When you're seeing teams that are desperate for a goal, rarely do you see the fullbacks come off. Rarely do you see both your fullbacks. It got to a place where, we have 4 fullbacks at the club: Tomiyasu, Cedric, Tierney, and Tavares. And all of them were off the field when we were trying to win the game. And the funny thing is that with Arsenal is that one of our strongest assets this season had been the fullbacks, had been the impression that they'd made both defensively and in how we actually generated attacks. And there was no overlapping. You all of a sudden had no variation on the right-hand side because you had Saka and Pepe. So there was no right footer to put any crosses into the box because you'd taken Cedric off. On the left-hand side, you had no left footer other than Xhaka that wasn't playing wide because you had Martinelli and Smith Rowe both playing on the left, which meant you had to cut inside every single time and in-swing those crosses. It was so naive to take both those fullbacks off, which gave you kind of natural right-footedness on the right-hand side and natural left-footedness on the left-hand side. It was a really silly decision. Really silly decision to make yourself so one-dimensional. You made yourself more one-dimensional by making those changes. Really, really poor. Kevin says, we rarely score from crosses into the box. No idea why we keep trying. Cedric's free kicks were awful. Really, really were bad. Matthew says, Tom, aimless crosses were meat and drink for Saints. Key was being able to get round the back. Should have played Saka and Martinelli on the right with 20 minutes to go. And again, this leads into the fullbacks. Because if you're able to get Cedric or Tavares around the back, then you've got those players that can cut the ball back on their strong foot. But we didn't have that because we'd taken them both off. It was such a strange choice. Really, really strange. I'd rather see, say, Lokonga come off or Nketiah come off. Bring on Pepe, sure. But bring Nketiah off and bring Pepe on into the middle. Or move Martinelli into the middle and put Pepe on one of the wide flanks. Don't take off your fullbacks because it just makes you so narrow. It makes you so incredibly narrow. And it really, really did hurt us. Matt says, who could we bring in to replace Arteta realistically at the end of the season? Any ideas, Tom? Galtier for me. Galtier all day long. Tono says, to be honest, Nketiah seems to have a good movement, but are finishing in the box. I didn't think his movement was that great. I didn't think he came searching for it. I thought he was really waiting for the ball most of the game. You need a little bit more energy than that, a little bit more dynamism. We didn't get any of it. Ian says, just a quick thought. Is that Southampton team better than us on paper? If not, then there is no point in bringing in January transfers for this match. Mikel Arteta is showing he is a novice, which is not good enough. Sam says, don't worry, everyone. It's just drama for the cameras. Wipes tears. Sarvik says, Osimhen, Nunez, Gakpo, Tony, they ain't coming to play in the Conference League. Michael says, did Tavares even complete a cross today? Maybe not, but as I say, as soon as you start taking both your fullbacks off, you're in trouble. Devakar says, we will slip some more and then win the last couple of matches to get Europa, and the club will say that it's progress. Trust the process, lads. No Sleep says, this is another example of learning on the job for Arteta, doing his MVQ. Bradley says, I honestly just feel bad for Saka at this point. Kim says, how's Galtier's English? I don't know. I have no idea. Matt says, the Amazon documentary is going to be so painful. Fatah says, 4 losses in the last 5. Surely Arteta's position is untenable. Afsar says, Tavares' confidence is low, and that's Arteta's fault. Iron Cub says, how can we not use all 3 subs in 2 games in a row while being down? I have no answer for this. You've got a young, exciting talent in Amari Hutchinson on the bench. You've even got, I will point, El Nenny's probably one of the best long-range shooters that we've got. And if you want to try and take a couple of chances in the final moments, I'd rather him than Lokonga. At least make the change to get a little bit more energy.
at least bring someone else onto the field. What's the point in having them on the bench if you're not going to use them? Are they really just there to make up the numbers? Is that what they're really there for? How demoralising is that, knowing that you can come on, like you could go on the trips, get on the coach, go to the travel, go to the hotel, knowing that it doesn't matter that you're there. You're never coming on, no matter what the game state is, unless maybe you're 6 or 7-0 up. And that's the only time. The only time. Oh, you can bore off, you loser. Matthew says, the Onyx Lens says, why did he start with Saka on the left and Martinelli on the right? Why does he tinker for now reasons? Stop overthinking. He had to revert to the back in the inverted system when by then it was too late. I thought the reason why he did that is because he had Nketiah. And the thing is about Nketiah is that he's better with those low-driven balls into the box. So if you play a right foot on the right-hand side and a left foot on the left-hand side, you get those better low-driven crosses in. But we never got into any opportunities really to do it, bar one, in which the ball fell to Saka and he missed an absolute sitter. So, yeah, really poor. Aditya says, we had 17 shots in the second half. We did try. We lack a striker. I'm sorry, but that's not a reason to be positive. The reason we had 17 shots is because Southampton just went, come on then, what you got? Because we don't trust you to break us down. We don't think you can, and we're just going to hit you on the break. So that's the only reason we had 17 shots, because Southampton just let us attack them. They didn't need to. They did not need to invite anything extra in terms of them offensively. They didn't need to go forwards other than when they were on the counter. That was the only time. And they looked more dangerous on the counter as well. Kim B says, watch Arteta only use 3 subs next season if he stays with 5 available. The Hippo says, failing to achieve stuff is getting boring now. It's not even a massive achievement to get top 4. Anthony says, Nketiah will struggle to get a club. He's done nothing to warrant anyone wanting to buy him. Righty on the Arsblog podcast was even ranting about him. James says, is it a lack of accountability at the top? Vinay out of his depth at CEO and an absent owner who doesn't really care? Better leaders would demand success. Yeah, I mean, I was saying this the other day. Was it on this channel? It was somewhere. And I said that what you'd want is whether or not Josh Kroenke talks the talk or whatever, if I'm genuinely that into it and I really know my stuff about football, I mean, at the end of the January window, with days left, and they're going, we can't get anyone in, that the people that we're looking at aren't good enough. That's the moment where the real demanding people go, no, you need to find someone in the last few days, because if Lacazette's injured or falls out of form, you're getting rid of Aubameyang. Like, we're going, okay, Arteta, we back you. We back your decision. You want to move Arteta, you want to move Aubameyang on, fine. You're the manager, your choice. If you don't think he's falling in line with what your expectations are, sure, you do that. You do whatever you need to do. But you cannot turn around and say that there is not enough out there, or the options aren't good enough, because there is a real opportunity here to get into the top 4 and you're blowing it by not getting anyone in. That's what we need. We need that demand. We need that pressure. And there just simply isn't that pressure. And there's a reason why another team, who are more likely to get top 4 than us, even though they lost today, because they went out and signed 2 players in January. And, both those players have contributed to them being much better. And the other team let go of a player that scored goals for us and didn't replace them. No, I've got no issue with Aubameyang leaving. I've got an issue with not replacing him. It's scandalous to not do that. And it's affecting us now. It's affecting how we are as a team now. And it's affecting our chances. Ben says, what is this panic mania right now? This season was always a work in progress, and a couple of bad results are resulting in us questioning the entire hierarchy behind the scenes. Calm down. Now, I get very frustrated, Ben, when people talk about the word standards. When people talk about the word standards in relation to saying, this is Arsenal Football Club, we should be expecting more, or a team that used to win trophies, etc., etc. And I go, look, I understand that, I get that, I want to be achieving titles, I want to be getting to that place. But I'm sorry, right now, in this moment, the most optimistic, contextual, grounded, objective person in the world can sit down and say, this isn't just a couple of results. This is the last 3 games. This is losing your main striker and not replacing him. This is mistakes that we can see week on week. The Brighton game was a result of mistakes from the coach. Today, again, the game management was a mistake of the coach by taking both full-backs off and losing any width that we had in terms of getting into the box into the final third in the final third of the game. It's not about saying, calm down, guys. It's about talking about what the issues are and seeing the same mistakes made season upon season We can talk about and praise the positives. And on this channel, we do that a hell of a lot and have done time after time. But when there's mistakes and when there's things that are costing us and when that isn't about progression, and you there, Ben, have said, you know, the season was always a work in progress. When we're not progressing, you're not going to tell us to calm down because the progress on the pitch is not happening right now because of mistakes that have been made, not just this season, but last season as well. Repetitive errors costing us to where we want to go. ADT says questions need to be asked about Arteta. He's not good enough. Philip says why not play Pepe? The manager must go. Sack him. Kai says we've tried short-termism before though. Is it worth bringing in someone to do a job, e.g. a Weghorst, who's not a nailed-on starter at Burnley on a 3? No, Kai. Why do you assume it's a 3 to 4 year contract? And if you're at Burnley and you're turning around to Wout Weghorst or any striker and saying you've got the choice of going to Burnley in a relegation scrap on a 2-3 year deal, or you can come to Arsenal and try and qualify for the Champions League. We're going to offer you a 6-month loan. And if you look at what we've done with players, take Martin Ødegaard, for instance. He was here for 6 months, did brilliantly. We paid £30 million to get him. We have history of loan players earning their place in the Arsenal squad. Here's your choice. 6-month loan, come to Arsenal, add something to our team. We'll talk about something permanent in the summer if you do well. That's why they'd come to Arsenal. But you've got to have the nous to do that. You've got to have the nous to go out and try and find those players that you can offer that to. You've got to go out and be able to do that. Bringing in no one is unacceptable. And it's cost us. And it's costing us continually. And who knows, it may be even worse than we can even think of. We may not be talking about a top 4 race. We may be talking about trying to keep into the Europa League next season. Is if we miss out on top 6. And even if I tell you what, Crystal Palace are no slouches. And if they win the Champions League, if they win the FA Cup, 6th place becomes UEFA Conference League. And do you see us playing above Man United and Spurs this season? I can see us being above West Ham, maybe. Maybe. But this is a team that just knocked out Lyon and Sevilla from the Europa League, and now we got to try and beat them without even being able to beat Southampton, Brighton and Palace. You know, that 6th place could easily become a Conference League place. Easily. Even if it doesn't, who's to say that we can finish 6th right now? Because that 6th place is not guaranteed. It's not guaranteed at all. Let's scroll down the chat a little bit more and get some more comments. Henry says, realistically, if we got top 4, what would our goal in the Champions League be? Last 16 quarterfinal? Because I don't see us winning it. So is it better to play Europa League and challenge to win it? No, it's not. I hate this argument. I think it's silly. With all respect, I do think it's silly. I think you need to be in the Champions League, in it to win it. RB Leipzig got to the semi-finals. Ajax got to the semi-final. Tottenham got to the final. Oh dear. I might have to wrap things up because my voice is going. Oh dearie me. Yeah, I'm going to have to wrap things up, guys, because I'm done. I'm so done with this team, with this club at the moment. I'll be live tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. Have a good day. Oh, I hate being like this. I hate this club sometimes. I really do. It's horrible. Enjoy yourselves, people. Have a good one. See you later. Bye-bye. And as always, up the Arsenal.